Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone. Peace and blessing to the elect of Israel. This is going to be the 12 tribes of Israel breakdown. It's going to be more concise, just getting to the point. For you brothers that keep up with us down here, you may have seen the live show that we did. And from now on in the future, with lessons like that, we'll just do on the side or save it as a personal lesson, because on the highways and hedges, the spirit needs to have free course, so, future reference for that. But I'm going to do this getting to the point, all right, which I originally planned, but, it is what it is. All right, this is Genesis chapter 49, verse 1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. All right, Jacob is our forefather. He was talking to his sons, telling them what was going to happen to their descendants in the future, in the last days or in the end times. And we're in the end times. Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father, our father. He was our forefather, all right? He is our forefather. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might in the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Reuben are the people that you call Seminole Indians today. Okay? Now, they have the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. They have a very ruling class mentality. And their mannerisms and the way that they are, the way that they dress is very royal. They have the mitres on, the turbans. They have the fringes on their clothes, showing that they're Israelites. They dress in buckskin, okay? They're very outgoing. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel. Unstable as water, meaning they're nomadic. Reubenites, they move around. And mostly due to when they was going to war with Esau. And the word Seminole, it means runaway or wild one. Also, the Reubenites, they're a warrior tribe. They are a warrior tribe, okay? Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, meaning they couldn't defeat Esau, okay? And they were eventually forced into signing treaties, okay? They were going to war with the Spanish, okay? And there wasn't many of them left, but they're still here today, though. Now it says, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defilest thou it. He went up to my couch. It's talking about when Reuben committed adultery with Jacob's concubine. Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. All right, so the tribe of Simeon is talking about the people you call Dominicans today, and the tribe of Levi are talking about the people that you call Haitians today. They share the same island. Instruments of cruelty is talking about witchcraft. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, which is that Santeria and voodoo, unto their assembly, their witchcraft. Mine honor, be not thou united. So they're divided. All right. Now you have an actual river. You have the Massacre River that divides the Dominican Republic from Haiti. But the people are spiritually divided. They don't get along. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Talking about when Simeon and Levi slew those Hivites. Okay. They slew Shechem. All right. For defiling Dinah. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. Right. And also, in 1522, there was a slave rebellion in the Dominican Republic, okay, in Haiti. The Simeonites joined with the Levites, and they fought against the French, okay. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. So they're divided. They don't get along. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Judah are the so-called Negroes. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. So Judah will be primarily located in North America, and they're going to get vengeance on Esau. Okay? The land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. So the other tribes are going to acknwledge Judah as the head. Because Judah came out with this truth first. The Lord saved the tents of Judah first. Judah is a lion's whelp, So Judah is like a young lion. Okay. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. Right. So you so-called Negroes, you forgot you have an enemy who is Esau. And the other nations are your enemies as well, but mainly Esau. He stooped down, he couched as a lion. Right. So Judah was like a young lion in the 60s. You had the civil rights movement, the civil rights movement. Okay. Civil rights movement. But also, amen, by way of Abba Bivens, the truth came out in the late 60s. Okay. You know, so Jake was waking up, and Jake is waking up, but a lot of Jake, they became docile. He couched as a lion and as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? The Lord is going to rouse you up. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet. Right, so that lineage of kings. Okay, until Shiloh come. All right, so you can read about that in the Lord's genealogy in Matthew, the 1st chapter. And unto him shall the gathering of the people be, which was the purpose of Yahawashi's death and resurrection. All right, to gather the tribes unto himself. All right, first the elect. Okay, and he's going to physically gather them when he comes back in the chariots, so-called UFOs, binding his foal unto the vine and his ass's coat unto the choice vine. So our Lord, he drank wine. You can read about that. He washed his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes. Our Lord drank wine. His eyes shall be red with wine and his teeth white with milk. Right, and you read Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. It tells you how the Lord has red eyes. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea. Zebulun are the people from Guatemala to Panama. Okay, they were called Mayans at one point. All right, and Zebulun, it means dweller. Okay, you know, and dealing with the Mayans, Mayan is a Hebrew word, and it means spring, like water. So they would dwell at the haven of the sea, and the haven of the sea, in particular, is dealing with the Panama Canal. And he shall be for an haven of ships, Panama Canal. And his border shall be unto Zidon, speaking about those Olmec heads that King Solomon's navy, along with the navy of Hiram, left in Central America. They left those Olmec heads as landmarks when they would come back to Arsareth and gather resources. But they didn't live here, all right? Only the 10 tribes live here, you know, because they look for a land where never mankind dwelt, all right? Arsareth are the Americas. Also, the Americas are known as the land of Ophir. All right. Issachar as a strong ass couching down between two burdens. Issachar or Yashashkar means he is hired. It's so-called Mexicans today. All right. They're compared to a strong ass or a strong donkey. They're hard workers. Couching down between two burdens or two land masses. All right. And those two land masses are North America and Central America. Mexico is in between. And he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, speaking about the land of Mexico, and bowed his shoulder to bear and became a servant unto tribute. All right. So Issachar became slaves to the Spaniards, the conquistadors. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan means judge. But Dan isn't around today as a tribe. All right. The last we heard of Dan is when you read in Judges, the 18th chapter. Okay, Dan became amalgamated or mixed in with the other northern tribes. That's why you read in Revelation chapter 7, it doesn't speak of Dan. Okay, Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path that biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward, which is one of their war strategies. I have waited for thy salvation, O Yahweh. I have waited for thy salvation, O Yahweh. So we're waiting for the Lord to come back in the last days. Okay. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Gad are so-called North American Indians. They got overcame by the U.S. cavalry. Okay, you're familiar with all the treaties the U.S. government made with Gad. You can read about the Indian Wars. Okay, and you know that the U.S. government they manipulated, they broke and altered over 500 treaties with the so-called North American Indians. The North American Indians are indeed Israelites. You can read the book History of the American Indians by James Adair. All right. So a troop overcame Gad, and Gad means troop. They're a warrior tribe also. But the U.S. cavalry overcame them. But it says, but he shall overcome at the last, because Gadites are waking up to this truth. All right. and they're going to be saved, the elect of Gad. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat. Asher are the people from Colombia to Uruguay, and Asher is from the Hebrew Ashar, and it means happy. They're a happy people. His bread shall be fat, speaking about the food that they eat, and also their minerals and resources in the lands that they dwell in South America. And he shall yield royal dainties, or royal delicacies. Look up Brazilian delicacies, okay? They eat good. You know about Fat Tuesday, you know about Carnival, okay? Naphtali, or Naphthalia, all right, which means my wrestling. He is a hind let loose, okay? Meaning he's nomadic. He moves around. When you read about the so-called Indians in Argentina and Chile, because Naphtali are the people from Argentina to Chile. When you read about them, those different tribes, so-called natives, they're nomadic. They move around a lot. So they're like a hind let loose. He gives goodly words, because the natives, they spake peaceable to those Spaniards, okay? Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well whose branches run over the wall. Joseph's talking about the people that you call Puerto Ricans, which are the tribe of Ephraim, all right? And Joseph is also going into Manasseh, but Ephraim first, because Ephraim got the principal blessing. Ephraim is a parium, which means I am fruitful, all right? And Manasseh is Manasseh, which means made to forget. All right, the Manassites, the tribe of Manasseh are the people that you call Cubans today. All right, but dealing with Ephraim, Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well. They're very fruitful, have a lot of children, whose branches run over the wall. So-called Tainos, the so-called Tainos have a lot of children. Okay, and you call yourselves Boricua or Boricua today. The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. The archers talking about the Spaniards, the conquistadors that came to the island of Puerto Rico, all right, and also came to Cuba. But his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. All right, so his bow abode in strength, meaning he kept having children. Esau couldn't exterminate the so-called Tainos, even though when you look it up, they say that only 500 so-called Tainos were left. Esau couldn't get rid of them. And it says, even by the power of thy father who shall help thee, and the Almighty who shall bless thee with the blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb. Right? So the island of Puerto Rico is a very fruitful land. Very fruitful. All right? And they have bioluminescent waters. Okay? You know, they have different exotic animals and fruit. Okay? They have a rainforest there, El Yunque, and they have a lot of children. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, which is Ephraim, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Right, because the northern tribes being separated from the southern kingdom, you know, is compared to when Joseph was separated from his brothers. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. Benjamin are the so-called West Indians. They raven as a wolf, meaning they utter sounds, you know, similar to a wolf howling. Basically, they would sing these different songs about Babylon going down. And a wolf howls before he hunts. And a wolf howls to gather the other wolves. Okay? You know, in Benjamin, it means, it's Bunyamyan in the Hebrew, and it means son of the right. You know, they have a close connection to the Most High. In the morning he shall devour the prey. All right, the morning represents our Lord returning. They're going to devour Esau. All right, and at the night, and at night he shall divide the spoil, meaning during the downfall of Esau. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is that their father, and this is it that their father spake unto them and blessed them, every one according to his blessing. He blessed them. All right, now let's go to Deuteronomy really quick. Deuteronomy 33:1. And this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of the Most High, blessed the children of Israel before his death. And he said, Yahweh came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints from his right hand when a fiery law for them. Talking about when we received the law, statutes, and commandments at Mount Sinai. That chariot came down over Mount Sinai. And there was other chariots too. All right. 10,000s of angels. And that main chariot shot laser beams into those tables of stones. And that's how we received the laws. Yet he loved the people. All the saints are in thy hand. And they sat down at thy feet. Every one shall receive thy words. Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob. And he was king in Jeshurun when the heads of the people and the tribes of Israel were gathered together. Let Reuben live and not die, and let not his men be few. Reuben are the so-called Seminole Indians. There were about 200 of them left after the third Seminole War. Okay? And let not his men be few, because a lot of them died, man. A lot of them died. Okay? And this is the blessing of Judah, so-called Negroes. And he said, hear Yahweh, the voice of Judah. All right? Because Judah came to the Americas on cargo slave ships. All right? Mainly to North America. And bring them unto his people. Right? That's why Judah came to North America on cargo slave ships to get brought to the other tribes. Let his hands be sufficient for him so we could be preserved. And be thou in help to him from his enemies. Dealing with Esau. Okay? We were sold unto our enemies. Pursuant to Deuteronomy 28:68. And of Levi he said, so-called Haitians, he said, let thy Thummim and thy Urim be with the Holy One. Be with thy Holy One. Right. So the Levites were the priests. Lawyer, which means joined to me. They were joined to the Most High. They administered the law. Whom thou didst prove at Massa, and with whom thou didst strive at the waters of Meribah. Right, that's in our history. Who said unto his father and to his mother, I have not seen him. Talking about Joseph, That's what Levi said. Like, I don't know where he is. I don't know what happened to him. Neither did he acknowledge his brethren. Right, so Levi has that tribal pride because they were the priests. Nor knew his own children, for they have observed thy word and kept thy covenant. Right, so that's how so-called Haitians are. They shall teach Jacob thy judgments and Israel thy law, and they shall put incense before thee and whole burnt sacrifice upon thine altar. Right. Bless Yahweh his substance and accept the work of his hands. Smite through the loins of them that rise against him. Right. That's what the Haitians did to the French. Okay. By way of Toussaint Louverture, that military general of Haiti, and of them that hate him, that they rise not again. Right. So they whooped the French. And of Benjamin or Bunyamin, he said, the beloved of Yahweh shall dwell in safety by him, and Yahweh shall cover him all the day long, and he shall dwell between his shoulders. Right. Son of the right. So-called West Indians, they're close to the Most High. And of Joseph, he said, blessed of Yahweh be his land. You got the Hebrew word Barakia, which means blessed of Yahweh, similar to Boricua. All right. For the precious things of heaven, talking about the island of Puerto Rico, for the dew and for the deep they captured beneath. For the precious fruits brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things put forth by the moon. Very fruitful land. Like I said, bioluminescent waters, exotic fruit, papaya, mango, pineapple, etc. That frog that whistles at night, coqui. And for the chief things of the ancient mountains, and for the precious things of the lasting hills. For the precious things of the earth and the fullness thereof, and for the good will of him that dwelt in the bush, let the blessing come upon the head of Joseph, and upon the top of the head of him that was separated from his brethren. His glory is like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of unicorns. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth. Ephraim led the other tribes to the Americas, or Asareth. But they are also teaching the word. A lot of Ephraimites are teaching the word. A lot of Manassites are teaching the word to gather the tribes together. They're teaching on that unicorn horn. All right, that satellite. And they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh. And of Zebulun, he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in thy going out, and Issachar in thy tents. All right. Zebulun, the people from Guatemala to Panama. All right. They were called Mayans. And you have Issachar, so-called Mexicans. Those are the Aztecs. They coexisted at one time. And they were sacrificed together to the Most High. They shall call the people unto the mountain. There they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness, for they shall suck of the abundance of the seas and of the treasures hid in the sand. Fruitful lands, all right? Central America and Mexico. And of Gad, he said, blessed be he that is large of Gad. Gad are so-called North American Indians. They dwelt mainly in Canada and in North America. He shall dwell as a lion. They have a large portion of land, and they divided it up. All right. So a lot of, natives in North America have a lot of land, man. Okay, those North American Indians, so-called, the tribe of Gad. And tear off the arm with the crown of the head. Tear off the arm, referring to that blood brother covenant. The crown of the head is referring to that war bonnet, the feathers on their head. And he provided the first part for himself, because there in the portion of the lawgiver was he seated, and came with the heads of the people. He executed the justice of Yahweh and his judgments with Israel. And of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's whelp, he shall leap from Bashan. And of Naphtali he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with favor and full with the blessing of Yahweh. So the people from Argentina to Chile have a fruitful land. All right. Possess thou the west and the south, which is Argentina and Chile. Okay. And of Asher he said, let Asher be blessed with children, let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. All right. So you have the Amazonian Indians down in South America. All right. For example, in Brazil, they're outcasted. They don't fit in with the rest of their brethren. All right. And let him dip his foot in oil. Venezuela has the richest oil reserves. And thy shoes shall be iron and brass. Brazil, if from the Hebrew word bazal, it means iron. And they have a lot of copper or brass. Very, very rich in mineral resources. And as thy days, so shall thy strength be. They live long lives, and they're still strong. Okay? Similar to our forefather Caleb. He was 80 years old, but he was still like a young man. Very strong. All right? There is none like unto the God of Yeshurun, or Yashawan. It says Jeshurun, but it's Yashawan, who rideth upon the heaven in thy help, and in his excellency on the sky. So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahawashi is coming to deliver the elect. I hope this is edifying. Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahawashi. Shalom.